So without being too dramatic, then it has to be said that this is an era-defining game for Arsenal tomorrow night at the Emirates, the second leg of the Europa League semi-final against Villarreal. Also, it's a career-defining moment for Mikel Arteta, isn't it, as Arsenal manager? If we don't get through this game, it has got to be the end of the road for him. And even if we win, you've still got to wonder whether or not he's the right man. But that's for another day. This is the Arsenal versus Villarreal match preview. Hello, my name is Richie. Welcome back to my channel over and over and over again. In this video, I'm going to look ahead to tomorrow night's massive Europa League semi-final second leg here at the Emirates against Unai Emery's Villarreal. I'm going to look at their current form coming into this game. I'm going to predict the lineup and also going to give a full match preview. Before I get into all that, I want to make sure that you are subscribing to my channel. If you enjoy what I do, you like some different Arsenal content, look at the history of the club as well, please click on the subscribe button down in the corner there. It is free of charge. It does help the channel reach a larger audience. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like as well. Please share the content around. And if you've got any comments at all to make about this particular game or anything else to do with Arsenal, please drop them in the comments box. I do love to hear from you guys as well, and I will try to reply to as many of you as I can. So as I said, this is an era-defining game, isn't it, for Arsenal and for Mikel Arteta as well. If we fail to turn this 2-1 defeat around tomorrow night, then our season is over, and you have to feel, unfortunately, that Mikel Arteta's Arsenal career is also over as well. But Villarreal are not a great side. We saw that last week, and they were there for the taking really for us. We just played so poorly in that first half, but we've given ourselves a lifeline. Yes, we were fortunate to get the penalty, and we were fortunate to come away with just a 2-1 defeat when you look at the 90 minutes in general. But sometimes in a cup competition, you need a little bit of luck, don't you? But the important thing is now that we take advantage of that, we use that away goal tomorrow night, and we make sure that we get the job done. Now, Villarreal come into this game on the back of a 1-0 win against Getafe at the weekend, which actually lifted them back up to 6th place in La Liga. They've only got 2 games left. They can't make the top 4 now, which means that for them to play in the Champions League next season, a bit like us, they have to win this Europa League. They have qualified for Europe, of course, via the European Conference League next season, although, of course, that's not really a great competition, is it, as we know? But I guess at least they've got the backup of that. We still don't even have that our current league position. So there's maybe slightly more pressure on us. As I say, we saw last week, though, didn't we, that Villarreal were definitely there for the taking. They're not a great side, are they? We made it easy for them in that first half, and maybe they will see that as a missed opportunity last week. I'm sure they will. They should have had that game sealed. Of course, there was that great save from Bernd Leno when it was 2-0 that maybe kept us in it. And then, as I say, the very, very soft penalty. We need to take advantage of that here. For me, what's going to be interesting, actually, is the approach of Unai Emery. If we've got the away goal, will they try and come here and get an away goal, or will they try and hang on to the lead that they've got? Our experience of Unai Emery, certainly when he was here, that his sides cannot hang on to a slender advantage like that. So I think Villarreal are going to have to come here and try to score an away goal themselves to cancel out the one that we've got. Are they capable of doing that? I think they certainly are. You could see last week going forward, they caused us quite a few problems with their pace and their movement. They've got some good players in the attacking third of the pitch. So we are going to have to be really switched on defensively. I actually think that it's going to be difficult for us to keep a clean sheet. So I'm forgetting any ideas of a 1-0 victory, although I will come on to a score prediction a little bit later. But Villarreal are going to pose a threat. It's just the tactics that Unai Emery is going to employ for this game. Does he want to put us under real pressure that way, or is he going to try and keep it at 0-0 maybe for as long as he can? I don't think either side defensively are that great, judging from last week. So I do think there's going to be goals in this game. It's just, can we do enough to sneak through? Yes, there's a lot of pressure on us, isn't there, in this game? There's no question about it. It's going to decide really where we go for next season, isn't it? If we're not in Europe at all, then I think that's going to affect the budget that we've got for new players. And I think it's going to affect the future moving forward in the club as well. If we can somehow manage to scrape into the Champions League by winning this competition, then that makes a massive difference, doesn't it, in terms of the funds that may be available to rebuild the squad, which is so important. That's why this game is the biggest game, I think, in the club's recent history. Yes, we've had European semi-finals before, we've had European finals before, we've had FA Cup finals, all those big games. But this one, I think, is even bigger than all of those put together because of the financial situation that the club are in now after the last year or more than a year of having no fans in the stadium and all the other stuff that's gone on in the world. I do think that now it's really massively important that we're in Europe next season. Of course, our only route into Europe now is into the Champions League, and of course the extra money that would bring into the club, I think, will be absolutely essential. We're fighting about the owners, and of course that's an important issue, but without European football next season, I do feel as though it doesn't really matter who the owner is. They're not going to come in and spend lots and lots of money rebuilding the squad without the backup of the European money that is so important. So this game is more than just about winning a trophy. It's more than just about the glory on the pitch. It's so important to the whole structure of the club and how the club moves forward from the mess that we've got ourselves in over the last few years. In terms of the team selection then, who knows what Mikel Arteta is going to do? For me, you've got to go with the strongest available team that you can. Yes, fitness issues and stuff like that have to be taken into consideration, but anybody who's fit enough to be in the squad, you pick your best 11 from that, don't you? I'm not sure if Mikel Arteta knows what his best 11 is, and there are a few other issues behind the scenes as I'll come into, but he has to try and go for the strongest team. For me, starting goal, and that's a difficult one, isn't it, straight away? You know, there's news coming out this week that Bernd Leno wants to leave the club at the end of the season. If that's true, do we play him in this game? Having said that, the alternative is Matt Ryan, who of course he's only on loan, and the chances are he might not be at the club next season either. I suppose looking at it that way, maybe stick with Bernd Leno, the number one, who actually had a decent game last week, didn't he, and made a couple of good saves when they were needed. Matt Ryan's done nothing wrong when he's played. I think he looks a good, solid goalkeeper, but maybe Bernd Leno should just get the nod in this one. The back four is going to be really interesting. We haven't had a settled defence all season. The right back situation, Hector Bellerin, I thought, had a decent game at Newcastle, but Mikel Arteta hasn't fancied him in these European games, as he's been playing Callum Chambers there. I don't know. I think Bellerin gives us a little bit more going forward, can come into a midfield area as well, and that might be important in this game, especially as we did get overrun in that area of the field last week. So maybe Hector Bellerin perhaps should get the nod in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is Callum Chambers. I don't know what's happened to Cedric. He doesn't seem to be getting a look in at all. I think the two centre-backs, obviously David Luiz looks as though he's going to be out now with that hamstring injury he picked up at Newcastle. That's a big blow, isn't it? So it looks as though Rob Holding is going to have to step in again. Who's going to partner him? Will it be Gabriel, who played well at Newcastle, or Pablo Mari, who seems to be Mikel Arteta's favoured partner for Rob Holding? Those two didn't cover themselves in too much glory last week in the away leg, did they? So interesting to see what he goes with. I'd maybe prefer Gabriel in this game, if I'm totally honest, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Holding and Mari. And of course, we've got the left back issue. Is Kieran Tierney fit? There's news that he's going to be in the squad. If he's fit enough to be in the squad, he has to start this game. We're desperate for a proper left back, aren't we? We haven't had one the last few games. Granit Xhaka's filled in okay at times, but he has been caught out, and he was caught out last week against this same opposition. So hopefully if Kieran Tierney's fit, he goes straight into that position. That then leaves Granit Xhaka to move back into midfield alongside Thomas Partey, and I think that's an important partnership. They had been building up nicely actually until Granit Xhaka had to move to left back. So I'd like to see those two playing in midfield, but that is going to come down to the fitness and availability of Kieran Tierney. I think in the front four, Ødegaard, I think, has got to play in the number 10 position. I know he's been a little bit off the pace since his return from injury, but he's got the quality that we need in this game to break down a defence that's going to sit deep and try to shut down the spaces as they did last week. So I think we need Martin Ødegaard in this game. I think obviously Saka's going to be on the right-hand side. He's been our best player this season overall, hasn't he? So he's definitely going to start there. Who'll start on the left? Martinelli certainly did himself a lot of favours, didn't he, with a fantastic performance at Newcastle. But Mikel Arteta hasn't really fancied him in these games, has he? So I suppose it's going to be a straight choice between Nicolas Pepe, who of course scored the penalty last week, and Emil Smith-Rowe. both of those two seem to have had a lot more game time on that left-hand side than Martinelli has. I got a feeling he might well go with Smith Rowe in this game, actually. I just fancy that might be what Mikel Arteta would do. Personally, I would put Martinelli there. And of course, through the middle, it's going to be Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, isn't it? Club captain. He came back on Sunday, didn't he? His first start for a while, got himself a goal as well, and actually played pretty well. So hopefully he's played himself back into good form. That's certainly the team that I would go with. I say we're never sure with Mikel Arteta, are we, what he's going to do? But surely he's got to go with something like that. So in terms of a score prediction, then, well, obviously I can't predict anything other than Arsenal going through, but I don't think it's going to be easy at all. As I said earlier, I do think Villarreal will score. I just don't think we can keep a clean sheet at home, certainly not against a team with the sort of forward players that Villarreal have got. And the fact that they know realistically, if they do get an away goal here, we then have to score 3 goals, and that's going to be very, very difficult. So I do think Villarreal will score. Can we get the goals that we need at the other end? I'm not too sure, but I've got to be optimistic. I can't predict anything other than Arsenal going through, but am I confident that we can? I've got to be honest and say not particularly, no. We've got the players to do it. We've shown that before, but we haven't won at home in our last 5 games in all competitions. Some really poor performances in the Europa League at home against Slavia Prague, against Olympiacos before that. In fact, we haven't won a European knockout game at home actually for 2 years now, since the first leg of the semi-final of the Europa League in 2019, of course, when Unai Emery was still in charge. That was a 3-1 victory against Valencia. So it's been a long time since we've won a knockout game at the Emirates in Europe. We need to put that record right. It's going to be a tough game, but I'm going to have to be optimistic, and I'm going to predict the final score, even maybe after extra time, Arsenal 3, Villarreal 1, which would put us through 4-3 on aggregate. So this is it, isn't it? The whole season rolled into one game tomorrow night. It's going to be tense. It's going to be exciting, hopefully, as well. Hopefully at the end it will be glorious as well, and we can look forward to another European final, our second in the last 3 seasons, which would be great, wouldn't it? And also another cup final for Mikel Arteta in his year and a half in charge. He would have got us through to 2 cup finals. So despite very, very disappointing league performances and questions over whether he's the right man to take the club forward, you certainly can't question his results in cup competitions, certainly up until now. Let's hope that can continue tomorrow, but it is going to be tough, isn't it? It's going to be a tense night, but let's hope that we can put in a performance worthy of the club, even if we don't end up going through. As long as the team have gone out there and they've given 100%, I don't think we can ask for any more than that. And if we end up going out to a better team, then I think you can just accept that. But if we perform like we did in the first half last week and get knocked out, that's not acceptable, is it? And that's a totally different story. Just before I finish this video, I do want to maybe plead with the fans going to do the protest tomorrow. Please be careful. Please do not try anything that the Man United fans do. I wouldn't even protest tomorrow night. I've got to be honest. I think this game is far more important at this moment in time than the situation with the owners. That can wait until the weekend and beyond. I think everybody's focus should be on this game and getting behind the team and trying to make sure that we can get the result and get into the final. Protests can wait. Certainly don't be looking at breaking into the ground. UEFA will not look kindly on that at all, and we'll end up getting ourselves thrown out of the competition. It's not worth it. The owner situation is not going away quickly. We don't need to do this tomorrow night. We can wait until the weekend, the game against West Brom, and then protest safely and peacefully outside the ground. But please, tomorrow, I would urge everybody not to protest tomorrow. This game has got to be the priority and got to be the focus. That's all I want to say about that. So that's my preview video there of tomorrow night's massive game here at the Emirates against Villarreal. It's going to be a tense night. I will be doing a watch along of the game, so please tune in from 7:45 for all the team news and the build up, and then of course full match commentary. See me going through all the emotions of the second leg of a semi-final, which is going to be a tough night, I'm sure, but a tense night, exciting, and hopefully ultimately a glorious night to get us through to another European final. After that, on Friday, I will be looking back on this game, hopefully with a lot of good stuff to say, with a sore head as well. And then of course again, we're looking ahead to the West Brom game at the weekend. I am looking to do another show for the 1971 double season as well, the 50th anniversary. There's some great shows this week. We're looking to get another one on over the weekend for the 50th anniversary of the 71 FA Cup final, which was of course on Saturday. So we're going to try and get some guests on for that as well. So please stay tuned for that. I'll be putting some notifications out about that over the next few days. Some really good stuff we've had already this week, looking back on, you know, the great history of this club actually. And it's important that everybody remembers where we've come come from, and try to get a little bit of that spirit back in the future, really, because I do think it's been lacking certainly over the last few years, and we need to get it back. And the only way we can do that, really, I think, is to look back and remember those great memories and remember where the club have come from. So hopefully we can get that show organised for the weekend. I say lots coming up, so if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button down in the corner there. Please give this video a like as well if you've enjoyed it. Please share the content around, and please drop your comments in the box as well. What are your thoughts for tomorrow night? What would your team lineup be? What's your score prediction? Can we do it? Are you confident? I'm not that confident, but I'm going to be optimistic, and hopefully we can get the right result. But let me know what you think. I say stay tuned to the channel. Join me tomorrow for the watch along as well. A very tense night we're going to have, aren't we? It's going to be good though. So please tune in from 7:45. And in the meantime, of course, ahead of this massive game here at the Emirates tomorrow, come on, you Gunners! Come on, let's do this.